Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of School Talk. I'm Nick DeLeo, your host, and as always, we're coming to you from inside the television studio right here at Warwick Valley High School. As the 2023-2024 school calendar is starting to run out of days, it's very easy to start looking ahead to graduation. On this edition of School Talk, we chose to investigate the collegiate careers of two of our recent graduates. Today, joining us are Jazleen Alagh and Anika Simon, both proud members of the class of 2023. Hello, ladies, and welcome back and welcome to the show. How's everything?
It's been good.
It's good. We're going to get into it. And Jazleen, you're coming back to the production studio that you and I spent all last year. How's it feel to be back before we get into our questions?
Surreal to be, I guess, in front of the camera again rather than behind it.
Right, you were always behind helping us get ready. And Anika, is this your first time on the show?
Yep.
So it feels a little weird to come maybe here after you graduated. All right, here we go, folks. What school are you attending and what areas of study are you following? Jazleen, let me start with you.
So I'm going to Toronto Metropolitan University, and I'm studying film studies. So
Excellent.
Yeah, I found out it was a good film school, and so I went there.
Good. Anika, where are you studying and what's your major?
I'm studying at SUNY Oswego.
Okay.
And my major is geology.
Before we start that, what drew you to your respective, you're out of the country, which is, and then you're upstate. What drew you to these respective campuses?
Well, Toronto has a huge film scene, and for me personally, I love New York City, I love New York, I love being here, but I thought it would be really interesting to get welcome change and to be somewhere that's pretty equal, and at least film-wise. So I thought it was nice. I got to experience TIFF, and then Toronto's just been great.
It sounds, we were talking off camera, it sounds like you absolutely love it. Anika, what drew you to Oswego?
Yes. Well, it was a beautiful campus when I went there,
Okay.
and also academically, I know I want to go to graduate school already, and I kind of know what I want to do in that sense. I'm not sure with job-wise, but that's a different story.
Yeah, no, you have lots of time for that.
Exactly. But basically, they have all that I'm interested in, and I can kind of piecemeal it together into what I'm really looking for.
Awesome. So we're taping this in May, which means both of you have just completed 2 semesters, 1 full year of school. So what did you find most surprising, interesting during your first year? Anika, I'll start with you.
What really took me by surprise was actually my own study habits. I wasn't expecting that. I started studying like a week in advance for my test, which I never did in high school.
We won't tell your teachers that.
No. And then also just the food was really good. The speed that I made friends at, they really tried to get you involved in the beginning, and then a few of those cemented really nicely.
Awesome.
So.
Jazleen, how about you? Surprising in your first year?
I had assumed incorrectly that with going to art school and focusing on the arts, it would be so much easier. But it really was not. It's still so much work.
Okay.
And but welcome work.
Right.
And I was able to work in groups and with people on really important projects that really. The grades don't come through unless you all put in the same amount of work. So it was stuff like that, learning how to work in a team to get a joint grade and stuff like that. That was all stuff that I wasn't.
Anika, are you finding that, Jazleen, you're working in groups too and learning that collaborative spirit?
Yeah.
Excellent. Looking back at your times as a student here at WVHS, what class, what experience, what teacher helped you to get ready for the collegiate experience? So we're going to do a little, as I say in my own class, give credit where credit's due. So I'm not going to put anybody on the spot. So if you got somebody, who do you think, any specific experience, a teacher, a class, either one?
You can go.
Well, for me personally, I was in the video production program for 2 years, and that directly led into everything that I went through in college and everything that I've started working on. And Mr. Saccone really set me up for a great first year.
And we're going to come back to that in a minute because I missed something on my sheet, so we're going to come back. Anika.
So I'm a geology major, as I said earlier. There's a lot of science, so I had to take Calc 1 and Calc 2. So my ARC math teacher, Mrs. Russell, she really gave me a deep understanding of Calc 1, which was really helpful. And then also my environmental teacher, he kind of brought me into that whole sciencey field work stuff. So that was good.
From a teacher standpoint, it's rewarding to hear that the things we do here kind of helped you a little bit next year. I hope my students feel the same. All right, control room, here we go. We're going to go back. As I mentioned earlier, and as Jazleen mentioned, she is at film school. So I'm super excited about this, and we're going to kind of watch it on the screen. I think we're B-rolling it, I think. You sent to Mr. Ciccone. Is it your first student film?
It's my final student film, my first group film.
Group film. All right, so why don't you tell us what's going on? Give us a little B-roll. Very interesting. Film noir, I like it.
Yeah, so we got to shoot on black and white film.
Okay.
We got to shoot it completely silently, and then in post-production we added every single individual sound. It had to be realistic, and we had to light it. It took us about 6, 7, 8 hours to film.
Really?
Yeah, and it's only a 2-minute film, and we were strapped for actors, so the man taking off his coat, that's my uncle.
Listen, you get them where you get them.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun. We didn't realize, how many little things go into it, like lighting and stuff. You can't really see things on black and white film unless everything's lit to perfection, so we had to make sure that was great.
So I don't know if we're running the whole film. Jazleen, did you say this was 2 minutes?
This is the end of it.
Oh, this is the end. So, at the end. So how long is your film?
I think it was roughly 2-3 minutes.
Okay.
This is just a short clip of the beginning and the end, but yeah, it was really, really interesting to work on. I didn't realize how much work was going to go into it. Like, at the end, the plot didn't even really make sense. We had to rearrange everything.
That's okay, though. That's super fun, though. What were some of the things that you did? I know you mentioned the sound, which is neat. What were the post-production things you and your group worked on?
Well, we had to work on actually making it a cohesive plot because there was no dialogue, no music.
Okay.
So we had to...
Is it silent?
It's silent,
okay,
except for, the added like Foley and stuff like that, but otherwise there's no dialogue. So when it was put in front of test audiences, they didn't understand what the film was about. So we had to go back and rearrange every little piece of it to make sure that it actually fit, because we got a little overambitious.
Okay, and then hopefully there was an A on your report card
yes.
for it. Good. That's all right. You work it.
Yeah.
Nice job. I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
All right, ladies, let's go to our next question. What's the one thing you thought way too much about or completely overlooked when getting ready to be a college student? So I like this question too because it's kind of a question which is a lead-in for our class of 2024. What's something you overthought that you didn't really need to overthink?
For me, it was doing laundry.
Awesome!
I've never done laundry myself, so I was worried about mixing up colors and shrinking stuff. And then I was panicky the first time I did it. My roommate helped me. And I was like, what setting do I put it on? And the first one turned out fine, and the next one turned out fine, and I eventually calmed down.
I was waiting for this story where I shrunk my cashmere sweater.
Oh, thank goodness.
When in doubt, always cold. Go ahead.
For me personally, it was less academic and more personal. I just went and I bought so much stuff from Target before I went, and I didn't end up using half of it for my dorm. And it was just so much stuff like that. I assumed I would need beanbag chairs and all these random things that realistically.
All those targeted ads got to you, Jeff. You need that beanbag. Oh my gosh. So I teach, as you guys may or may not remember, I teach seniors. So I have 2 sets of seniors who are actively getting ready to graduate on June 29, and then the summer to go to Target and buy things they apparently don't need or whatever. Looking back, if I were to have you guys into my 2 senior classes, what piece or pieces, whichever, of advice would you give seniors leaving Warwick as they start their next career as a college student?
I think personally the best sort of advice to follow is that trial and error is just going to sort of happen with your college experience. And not everything's going to be as you envisioned it, whether it's, you envisioned it too much or too little. But this is just the beginning. And it's really nice to sort of try and experiment things, especially in your first year.
Just go out and have a good time too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Anika, what piece of advice would you give my seniors and all seniors in the class of 2024?
So I would build off of what Jazleen said, basically trying out different things. I know for me personally, I got involved in a lot of clubs to start at, which was great because it gave you a whole network, not a network of people, but you get to meet a lot of people.
Sure.
And then you got to test out things that you liked or didn't like, kind of evaluated yourself. And that's what I would suggest or advise other people to do, is just to get involved. Even if you want to just sit in your dorm and do nothing, I would highly recommend just go out and push your boundaries.
Oh, so don't sit in there. Just go on out and have a
Yeah.
good time. And that's one of the views I always tell my seniors: choose your school, choose your major. But I always tell them, look at the clubs board. Do you guys have them?
Mm-hmm.
In which all the clubs just post what's coming up. I think that's an incredibly important part of the collegiate life, is to have, of course, your courses, but to do outside stuff. So. Anyway, all right, I'd like to thank Anika and Jazleen for coming back and sharing their experiences from their first year at college. Also, special thanks to you, our viewer, by joining us as well. Remember to like and subscribe to Warwick Valley Television YouTube page. For School Talk, I'm Nick DeLeo. We'll catch you next time.